everybody, and welcome back to the T.H.O Movie Reviews podcast, the show where we bring you passionate, honest, and insightful film criticism. I'm your host, Bennett Campbell Ferguson. I'm here at McMinimans on Broadway, about to review Ad Astra with two of my wonderful colleagues, starting with Shaunette. Mo, I believe this time last year we were reviewing a movie that had Nicolas Cage and a lot of coke demon hell biker things. How far we've come from there to the far reaches of space.
I completely forgot about that. Holy smokes. Yes, I'm here, and I'm kind of tired, but it's all right.
You're here. Well said.
We'll make it work.
We will. And also, we have Geoff Wallace. Geoff, I thought about you and a podcast we did during this movie when there was a subway sign on the moon. Is that not good product placement, or what?
That's pretty good, and that's pretty accurate considering how many subways there are on Earth, right?
Yes. Yeah. No,
it is the most popular fast food chain.
And DHL was up there too.
DHL,
yeah,
delivery on the moon. I mean, I guess
I saw Virgin Atlantic up there.
Yeah,
right,
yeah. That's what Brad Pitt.
Yeah, he's flying on.
$125 for the hot towel.
Yeah. What was the Nicolas Cage Coke bikers?
Mandy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was we were united in our distaste for that film. I recall
disinterest, I would say.
Disinterest. It's because I work at Cinema 21, and that was one of those movies where it's like, God, if you didn't love that movie, there you felt very, very loved.
Yeah.
But on to Ad Astra. We just saw it, just walked out of the theater. What did you guys think overall?
I thought
we're doing spoilers, by the way.
We are doing spoilers.
We always do spoilers.
Okay.
You know that.
Yeah.
I thought it was the inspiring story of a man who travels 2 billion miles to kill his dad.
It's a tale as old as time.
Indeed. Yeah, I didn't particularly care for this. I'll be honest, I was kind of bored for a good chunk of it. It looked very pretty. It's very well shot, and it's got a good visual aesthetic that they stick to. I did not care for anything that happened. I didn't care for any of these people, and it felt like it had a lot of different ideas, but it wasn't committing to them in a meaningful way, at least. It didn't do anything for me, really.
Jeff?
It felt very much like a James Gray movie, based on the only one other James Gray movie that I've seen.
No, I think it's very much. It is very much like a James Gray movie. Yeah.
I thought it presented a very nicely realized, pan-galactic society. Maybe not as humanistic as Interstellar.
I thought about Interstellar watching this, and it is an interesting point of comparison.
Because it's also daddy issues in space.
Yeah.
But in a very different sort of... Interstellar's in a much more long-winded way.
At times I felt like I was watching Terrence Malick from the 1970s transported to today.
Well, those voiceovers.
The voiceover, with some of the editing choices, not as impressionistic as, Tree of Life, but
that kind of that fragmented quality where, like, sort of an odd image that isn't part of the continuity of a scene, and that isn't necessarily like a full-fledged flashback. We're just kind of poetically intrude.
Yeah.
You know?
But without the voiceover being too overbearing. Sometimes I was, kind of felt on the fence about the voiceover, how the scenes would have played without it. I think I liked the movie overall. But other than maybe the baboon attack sequence, I don't know, baboon in space, I don't know how many moments there were where the movie really seemed interested in, like, reaching out and grabbing the viewer. It seemed as aloof in itself as the main character was removed from his emotions.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's necessarily a bad quality. It could just be the film reflecting its character.
Sure. I think you guys both bring up a lot of interesting points, and I think I like the movie ultimately, while definitely having a number of quibbles. I mean, I am a big fan of James Gray. His movie Two Lovers with Joaquin Phoenix and Gwyneth Paltrow was my favorite movie of 2009, actually, and I'm also a big fan of the Lost City of Zed and We Own the Night, which was anyone who hasn't seen, it's a great cops and gangsters movie with Phoenix and Mark Wahlberg and Robert Duvall. And this is this is a big step for him. Traditionally, Lost City of Zed notwithstanding, he makes movies that are set in New York, which is where he grew up. He makes movies that are about characters who are kind of reflective of him or his family. The kind of the world he grew up in, and so to go into outer space is a big stretch. It's it's also he's working in a register of storytelling that's definitely not his usual world. Sci-fi, it's a little hard to do the kind of the subtle, intimate, human stuff. Thank you. And you sometimes have to tell stories in kind of a broad, thank you, more forceful, primal way. And I think, and we'll get into this more later, I think at times you can feel him struggling with that, and I thought about it in the show a lot as well, and you can feel the difference between something like that, which was made by a director who had done a very long tour of duty in the big budget world, and this is really James Gray's first foray into it. But I did think it was visually beautiful.
There were so many lens flares. I could feel somewhere in the distance J.J. Abrams was getting an erection, and he did not know why.
Well, I think sometimes like the emotions in the movie feel a little bit like do we really have to go on this big journey to kind of deal with this one father-son story that's basically about characters learning how to feel? But then there were other times where it really did get to me and move me, and I was caught up in the strangeness and the dreaminess of this voyage that goes further and further into the unknown. And I think the Mars scenes especially are really kind of surreal and odd and effective, like when he's in the I think they called it the comfort room, or whatever, and it's like these weird images of waves, and it's kind of beautiful, but also a prison.
That's
pretty prison.
If you've watched Black Mirror, that's the episode, the 6 million units, the one with Daniel Kaluuya.
Merits.
6 million merits.
Yeah.
That's what what they
live in.
Their bunks look like. It's just like wall-to-wall TV screens, and you actually have to spend money to turn them off and get some peace of quiet.
Right. And you also have to spend money, I think, to turn the ads off too.
Oh yeah. Oh, something like that.
It's something.
It's been
you have to pay money to have some peace and quiet either way.
Yeah.
And that doesn't sound that far from reality.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, do you know what the budget on the film was?
I think it was in the 80 million range.
Okay.
Yeah, which is lower than I would have expected for
a space movie.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mo's looking it up.
It says 80 to 100.
I thought so. This is very much a movie about masculinity, and I think masculinity is a very hard subject, to deal with in movies, because filmmakers are so used to kind of presenting, really kind of cartoonish, ideas about masculinity. It's funny, so many more movies are made about men, than are about women, and yet, just because the industry is male dominated, doesn't mean there are that actual many interesting male characters in film.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if we could get into what did you guys make of, how this film, deals with its male characters, because I feel like there's some things it does very well on that count, and there's sometimes when it kind of struggles to find a good take. If you know what I mean.
I had this revelation earlier this year. I went and saw The Art of Self-Defense, which plays out like a mumblecore take on Fight Club, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cute and harmless, but ultimately it's just, I am done with movies about like dudes talking about how it's okay to not be super manly all the time. Like, I feel like we've covered that ground.
Let me ask you this though: have we? I mean, because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that pressure to conform to some like He-Man stereotype is. I mean, it's kind of everywhere. Like, no matter how much we think we're past it, isn't it?
I get that. I'm just maybe I'm just done with that.
More like you're tired of it as a theme.
More like I'm tired of it just because it's like I've reached this point already. Like I am. This sounds egotistical to say, but I feel like I am past that point.
Sure, I hear that. That makes sense.
Of feeling the need to conform to these. I'm going to stop right there because I stop like an asshole.
No, but I think you're making an interesting point. I mean,
am I?
I think so.
I guess it depends on what the studio system thinks, or how much they think that the greater male audience has received that message.
Sure. Yeah.
But here, like, it's they're having their cake and eating it too, because it's like he gets to do the big, cool, heroic thing where he's like he travels all across space to save all of life by putting
nuking something,
by putting the duty of all the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. His relationship to his father is second to the lives of everyone on Earth and off Earth. But then he gets to go home and it's like, okay, I can go and be a normal person now, and I can reconnect with my wife and be healthy. And he literally says, I'm going to live and I'm going to love. And I'm like, are you a fucking suburban mom who bought one of those live, laugh, love things and keeps it hanging in the kitchen?
I think that could be the case, but I also think like there is more sophistication to the movie's end, because notice that the last word of the movie is submit. He's submitting that report on what he's thinking. So like in a sense he's still performing. He's still like almost like projecting of an idea of like who he thinks he should be, which I mean I don't necessarily think that what you're saying is not the case. I think that there is a gray area there in like how it deals with those issues.
I would be somewhat interested to see where it goes, not like after this, not just because like does he actually succeed in making this change? Is he actually just like, okay, I'm gonna be a normal person now? Does he just like flip a switch in his head and it's all right? And also, he killed 3 people.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that gets kind of swept under a rug, but his actions led to the deaths of 3 astronauts, 4 including his dad.
Sure.
So
yeah.
How do you square that? Is he put on trial? Because like, hey, I have issues with my dad, so I'm just gonna hijack this mission and do that. But then he hijacked the mission to save, again, all life on Earth.
Right.
So,
Sure. I think there's also the argument that that's an honest portrait of human behavior, that he's kind of toggling between like selflessness and selfishness and kind of I like that when the movie was over you were like, he still killed 3 people. It's like that is a really striking
in the bathroom.
moment.
I think I remarked or observed that there aren't that many characters in the movie that have spent more time on the ground than in space.
Oh, that's interesting.
A lot of them are astronauts, or Ruth Nega's character on Mars. She's always been on Mars, which is viewed as, I think, not home in a lot of ways.
Very much, yeah.
And it seems like as you get farther from Earth, you get into these more removed emotional states.
Yeah.
Like, the moon seems like a crass version of Earth. Mars is like a surreal version because it's so devoid of so many of the human things that we have, and then there's just strange absolution way out in Neptune, and I don't. It's almost like he has to deal with more extreme emotions as he gets farther away from the Earth, which would be his home, his center, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of, honestly, just the look of it reminded me of Blade Runner 2049. Just like
I thought that especially in the Mars scene.
these big, bright primary colors, the big redness of it, heavy shadows that look a lot like noir. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I see that. I mean, because the Vegas scenes in 2049 actually looked quite Martian, and then the interior of the stuff on Mars and Ad Astra looks very much like a Jared Leto's little private kingdom, you know. And it's interesting the progression that both of you guys have pointed to with the surroundings, and I also think like with the characters too. Like, I mean, he has in a way kind of a surrogate father figure in Donald Sutherland, and they immediately kind of shed that weight, you know. And it's like, it's like it's
this
kind of
kid's
like
got issues.
and it's getting.
Like, I know Brad Pitt is like 50, but he's got issues.
Right.
It gets like more and more stripped down. Like, and then again with the monkey tussle, and the captain of the other ship being killed, and
there's like the closest thing he has to family, I feel like, is Ruth Nega, because it's like they're kind of siblings.
They have
that's a good feeling.
Shared traumatic bond.
Until they're not.
Right.
So it's like BT Dubs, your dad killed everyone.
So I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Why do you think she helped him get on the ship? Like, did she think that maybe he would do what it took like more than the other astronauts to get the job done, or was it because of the connection they have because both of their parents?
I think
being a part of the Lima project.
It's partially that the first one where he was the one who could get the job done because Tommy Lee Jones has already demonstrated that he's willing to kill people to protect his work, including innocent people, and he's less likely to do that to his own kid. But also the notion that keeps getting hammered in that like the acting captain after the other one gets killed by the space baboon. The acting captain is not fit for it. He's a coward. He's unsure of himself, and he's not. And
it was the same captain from the other. Was it or
it's okay? It was the same crew when he hijacked the ship to Mars. It was the same crew, and like they were going to deliver the nuke over to Project Leda, and the idea was that he was not up for it, which is still pretty flimsy, I would say, and it does not entirely justify him sneaking aboard the ship and then killing 3 people, but
it did give me pause. It worked for me, but it did give me pause.
Superficially, he's also like his dad, known to be someone who's tough as nails and maybe even superhuman with that ultra low resting heart rate. I'd argue maybe dangerously low, but she might have just known that vengeance plus durability equals higher success rate.
Sure. Yeah, I think any of those things could be the case, and I thought it was kind of interesting, like how fast he goes from being sort of the chosen one for this mission, and then who's trusted above all others, and then the instant they don't think they need him, he's in the dark, and that's when his mask of reserve finally shatters because he can't stand that.
That honestly made me laugh so much when they said that. It was like, you're emotionally compromised by this mission. It was like, okay, 1, he doesn't have emotions. That's the point of this movie. 2, you brought him on because he was supposed to talk his dad down, and now that's a liability. Like that,
they brought him on to send the message.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really bad planning.
It did leave me scratching my head too. It's like, oh, now he's emotionally compromised. Like, why? He was fine going to one planet or planetoid satellite, and then a planet, but he can't go onward to another planet. Like, he's already been in space how many days, and he can't, like, that 79-day voyage is just going to be really what cracks him.
It's an interesting thing to deal with. I guess my interpretation is like that he, you know, he is able to, has found a way to kind of lock his emotions down, keep his heart rate down, and that's not like just who he is. It's a very like conscious level of control, but the closer he gets physically to his father, the harder that is to maintain that. Which is how I interpreted it.
That tracks with, say, a traumatic experience.
It makes sense, but it's also very bad planning on their part.
It does make them look a little incompetent. I will add, though, that the immediate psych eval situations also kind of call back to Blade Runner 2049.
Right.
He's always he has to go into those debriefing situations to show that he's not like gone off his
the baseline.
Yeah, the baseline. The Nabokov quote that he has to recite.
Right. Within cells interlinked. Cells interlinked. Which, by the way, the book is in his apartment in the movie.
Yeah. That's the one that Joy reads. Yeah. But it did. Just having that cinematic echo, made me think that they treated him as more of a puppet than he realized.
I think that's true.
Oh, absolutely. Like he has the line like, "They use me." It's like, you didn't know that?
Well, he says that earlier in the movie as well. He says like they're just.
That also goes hand in hand with him sort of being still longing after his dad and being like, well, maybe my dad would come back, or like still being subservient to him. And maybe at this point we could shoehorn in all of the various religious themes that were going on throughout the film.
Say more about that.
I'm gonna guess they were there and I just missed them because I was kind of
So in a couple scenes, the astronauts, I think it's mostly astronauts, they said prayers to Saint Francis,
Saint Christopher,
or
whoever's the patron saint.
Francis is the one.
The Christopher is the patron saint.
Francis protects fools. Christopher is the traveler saint. So they said prayers to him. Tommy Lee Jones's character kept bringing up God.
He kept bringing up destiny and fate.
When Brad Pitt sits down to deliver the laser secure message from Mars, somewhere in there he says Father, and then I don't remember what he says right after that, but it sounded very much like a line from the Bible.
Okay.
Like Father, I something.
See, that just smacks of like, again, Spacecom did not know what they're doing because they gave him this this list of like, this is the approved transmission, and it's like, Father, I would like you to come, and it just sounds super robotic. And
it did sound robotic
and like impersonal and like not something an actual person would say to his dad.
And then, but at the end, they didn't find life on other planets, right? Or was it
they didn't? No, I mean they had found this. They'd been able to get like photos of images of other planets. But if
Tommy Lee Jones is sort of both looking for other life or God, and is also sort of a godlike figure by being the parental figure, which then we can go back to Fight Club and be like, our fathers are models for God, and he says there's nothing out there, and then Tommy Lee Jones, then Brad Pitt kills his dad. It's kind of effectively a humanist message. He's both saying there's no other life in the universe, and there's not even God in this one. So all we have is ourselves.
All we have is each other.
I don't. Might be reading into it.
No, that's definitely there.
I think that's true. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, you know, that may be, you know, James Gray. You know, a guy who makes these, you know, generally very kind of like intimate, down to earth, low budget films, and you know he goes like into this bigger arena, and you know his perspective, you know, is, you know, as a teller of, you know, very like human tales. It's like it's not about the external things. It's not, you know, about the bigger stuff.
Right.
It's you know, it's about the stuff inside, and that may, you know. That may to a certain extent be the result of both the movie's weak points and its strong points.
That could be.
Yeah.
And maybe when you translate that sort of humanist, existentialist message into space, you don't get 2001
Yeah.
or even Interstellar, you get Ad Astra.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with the Latin phrase that Ad Astra is often a part of?
No.
It's ad, isn't it ad astra per aspera?
Yeah, which either means to the stars through difficulties or to the stars with difficulties. And
So it just means to the stars?
yeah, the title. But I feel like that second part is sort of implicit. The difficulties part.
I mean like that's interesting because, and I didn't know that was the translation, but now that you say it, I think like that kind of sums up the whole thing. I mean, not surprisingly. I mean, let's see.
I was just on my phone, but you can cut this out because this has nothing to do with anything. This is just me, my nerd brain going off. But the whole idea of Tommy Lee Jones as a godlike figure, and just having to get rid of him. There's one of my favorite lines that's from a video game, from Dragon Age Inquisition, where you meet the bad guy for the first time, and he's basically trying to take over the world, and he says this line, and it's, "Beg that I succeed, for I have seen the throne of the gods, and it was empty." And I'm just... That applies here.
Yeah.
So that has nothing to do with anything, so you can cut that out.
No, I think that actually fits quite a bit. It was interesting to see, like, I mean, Tommy Lee Jones is one of those guys who's been around so long that it's so easy for him to give a super, like, rote, prepackaged performance. This I thought was a cut above the usual.
He's doing something a little different. Lately I've come to appreciate him just as a comedy figure, just because I read that most of the dialogue in Men in Black was improvised. And it was just...
That's amazing.
No, he basically just read the script as like, no, I'm just going to fuck around. And then Will Smith was like, well, I can do that too. But he's... I am not going to break any boundaries by saying he's got chops as an actor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Winner of Best Supporting Actor for whenever...
The Fugitive.
Yeah, whenever that came out. Was that like
93, I think?
It wasn't 94. It wasn't 94, because I think 94 was William H. Macy for Fargo.
Okay.
No, Fargo is 96 or 7. I just read the screenplay.
I just know... I know this because... I don't know that for certain, but I do know that Samuel L. Jackson was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in 94 for Pulp Fiction, and he lost to someone. And I don't know who.
Someone not worthy.
I thought it was William H. Macy for Fargo, but I may be wrong about that.
It could have been such an unremarkable performance that now we can't even remember what it was.
Amazing how that's often the case with Oscar performances.
Right? Yeah.
Because everyone remembers the dude from The Artist, Jean,
French name.
I actually
do French.
Jean Dujardin.
There it is.
I actually thought he was good.
I thought it was good too.
He wouldn't have been my personal choice. I did think he was good.
We are so far off track right now.
It's movies, it's cinema. We're basking in it.
We're rambling. I'm very tired.
Well, maybe do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I was not super into this. I think someone else will be. I might not have been in the right headspace for it because, again, I probably should have gotten a little more sleep last night. And so a long, ponderous movie about quietly ruminating on emotions and personal traumas was not what I was in the headspace for.
You should send that quote to Disney. A long, ponderous movie about...
Especially when the performances aren't ripping off the screen. The characterizations.
Like, they're definitely playing it close to the vest, and they're doing a good job. I'm not knocking it, but I was not here for it. I was not here for something that's self-serious. I think that more comes down to personal taste than anything else.
So, talking of the acting, and I'm derailing us here, but
as opposed to the laser focused commentary we've had thus far.
Laser focus,
yeah,
laser focus
over here.
But so I do think about the casting, and I thought all the performances were very good, but I do wonder. Given that James Gray has such a great relationship with Joaquin Phoenix from the 4 films they did together. Like, it would have been interesting to see like see what this movie would have been like with a character actor as opposed to a star in the lead role. Like, I think perhaps that would have made it. It may have made it better. It may have just made it different. It's something I did, think about.
Or even if you got Joaquin Phoenix in "You Were Never Really Here" mode, right?
that would be
That's the
interesting.
title of that movie, right?
Yeah,
Lynn
yeah,
Ramsey?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like you could do him with the long hair like floating in zero G.
Here's what I liked. Here's what I thought was interesting about the casting. Natasha Lyonne is there for like 5 seconds.
Oh, that was her.
That was very faint comedic vibes radiating off of her. She's even in Orange, like Brian Regan, Orange is the New Black.
See, I
didn't realize that was her. That's why there was that murmur of recognition in the audience.
that was just like, oh shit, we're back in Russian doll territory.
By the way, have you guys seen But I'm a Cheerleader?
Not
Yes,
yet.
yeah, I like a long time ago.
So good. I saw that at the Clinton Street Theater a couple months ago.
I remember it being pretty hilarious.
Oh, it's so hilarious.
I'll add one more thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know the answer to this, but I saw a headline, and I didn't click on the article because I didn't want anything spoiled for me, but it said that the filmmakers had broken the rules of space for Brad Pitt, and I don't know what
does that mean?
What scene it was. I thought maybe it was toward the end when he sees his dad, and his dad tells him that he's never cared about him, and he sheds a tear, and it rolls down his face. But then I wasn't sure if there was some sort of artificial gravity or
just the fact that it sticks to his.
Yeah,
he's sweaty here. I don't know.
I mean, there wasn't a scene of him obnoxiously eating an apple in zero G.
I have to admit I've grown pretty laissez-faire about the rules of space, whatever they are.
It's gotta be super realistic every time.
I'm okay with fiery explosions and whatnot.
I'm okay with moon pirates because again, that's
Moon
an
pirates.
awesome phrase.
It is pretty. That was exciting. Yeah, Moon Pirates.
The Moon Pirates spin-off coming to theaters in 2021.
That's just a sweet band name.
Moon Pirates. Any other final thoughts?
Oh, I don't. I'll just have to look up the article and see what that actually was.
I think I've been looking forward to this movie probably for years by now as a James Gray nerd. I mean, I think Lost City of Z was his last film. I think that film was pretty close to perfect. This film does not, to my money, reach that level, but I still think it has something to offer, and it has there's a beauty and a poetry to it. So I would recommend it in spite of some of its stumbles. And I think that'll do it for today. If you like this podcast, and why the hell wouldn't you? Please click thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at T.H.O Movie Reviews. And please check out all the great reviews and content we have at thomoviereviews.wordpress.com. Once again, I'm your host, Bennett Campbell Ferguson. I'm here with Shaunette. I'm here with Geoff Wallace, and from all of us here at T.H.O Movie Reviews. To the stars or Mars? I don't know.
Moon Pirates.
Moon Pirates. There you go.